What's up, Totem Pole Nation? This is Lambo and Matt's World of Sports. Today we are getting into the drama surrounding Colorado football. 2025 recruit wide receiver Winston Watkins has decommitted. There's speculation on whether or not Deion will be at the university long-term or not. We will get into all of that, our opinions, and more. Thank you to Sideline Sports Network, as always, for the platform. And if you want to support the boys by getting some merch, TotemPoleNation.com is scrolling in the ticker below. You can go there, find some cool hoodies, hats, T-shirts, and more. Without further ado, let's get into it.
Well, Colorado and Winston Watkins Jr. has decommitted. Am I surprised by this? No. Players decommit all the time. That's not my issue I have. The issue that I have is that he said he doesn't know how long primetime Deion Sanders will be there when he pledged his commitment to the program December 4th of 2022. Also, he has 22 other offers that includes Michigan, Oregon, Alabama, Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Ohio State, and Texas. Also, already knew that this guy Watkins is the cousin of the former Clemson wide receiver and Sammy Watkins, who spent his sophomore year at IMG Academy, which is, IMG and Bishop Sycamore, the whole story as well. I'm not shocked by this, but there's some speculation going on. Do you think prime time will be there long term, especially if Shiloh and Shador enter the NFL draft next year?
Yeah. It's crazy how much speculation is, considering his public comments multiple times this year on that he's intent on staying in Boulder. He said, he's been asked obviously all year. It started earlier in the year when they were asking if he was going to go to the NFL because of how successful the season was looking early on. And he said, no, I like it in Boulder. And then recently they asked him a similar question and he says, I'm not built for the NFL. I'm not built to coach in the NFL. Like, he's been very vocal that he plans on staying in Boulder. But I do have a lot to say about the shit that's being talked on Deion Sanders. All right. The way a lot of the media is just murdering Deion and his Colorado team is very unfair. The roller coaster this season has included people saying, like I mentioned, he should leave for the NFL because of how successful the season looked early. And now people are saying that he's failed the 2023 Colorado Buffaloes. They won one damn game last year, and 4 the 2 years before that. They've had one season above 5 wins since 2007. Okay? So a lot of this hate is seeming to come from people that just wanted him to fail anyways. We knew those people were out there. It's disgusting. He completely flipped a roster in 1 year. There's, like we've talked about multiple times, there's one player left from the worst team in 2022 Division I football. They've been in a drought recently, yes, and I'm not excusing poor play at all. But it is absolutely ridiculous to say that this season is anything but a step in the right direction. It's ridiculous to say that this is anything but a positive from Deion in Colorado. The games that they've dropped outside of the Stanford collapse have been to very good teams. We talked at the beginning of the year, and, I did predict 6-6 for this team, because their schedule is murderer's row. They've had to play 6 ranked opponents and still have 1 left with Utah. This is the best the Pac-12 has been in years. So, I looked into it. It's a lot of news outlets in the West, obviously, Colorado, Arizona, California. Outlets out there are the ones that I'm seeing the most hate from. And it's like the entitlement of immediate success that seems to be showing is wild, considering this is literally the first team in college football history to be completely built through the transfer portal. It's the opportunity wasn't there before. Now it is. This is the first team in history to be built like this. So now to see people going at Prime just because he lost a commitment of a 2025 wide receiver who is ranked highly in the ESPN rankings, but 24/7 has him as the 108th ranked recruit, which is still high, and the 15th ranked wide receiver. So he's like a great high school player, no doubt. And obviously, Colorado wishes that he was still committed. But we didn't see any love in late October, October 20th, I think, when Deion signed the 70th ranked recruit nationally and the 6th ranked QB in Antwann Hill. So I'm not saying it's okay to like get in the habit of just letting your top commits flip, but it happens to everyone. Recruits that are 2 years out or more and are already committed decommit all the time. This is a very frequent occurrence. Of course, the loss needs to be reported. People deserve to know that. But the commitment from a higher ranked player in a position of need, which will be quarterback once Shedeur leaves, needs to be highlighted just as much. And it's not. He is not getting the credit he deserves. I know that was a long rant, but it's wild to me that the roller coaster is just continuing to go up and down when in terms of, the success of Deion Sanders. Like you can't consider this season anything but a success in my eyes.
Well, no, I agree on the long rant because we're supposed to keep it real. And people in the real world don't want to keep it no more. People want to lie to you. They want to create shortcuts. They don't want to tell the full truth. They want to create excuses. Excuses are bullshit to me. I don't like excuses. It happens. It happened. I mean, Tech lost recruits. Alabama loses recruits. Georgia loses recruits. Like you said, everybody loses recruits. I mean, it's not surprising. It's a different world that we live in. Obviously, recruiting is not the same way as it was back then when there was no transfer portal. All right. Now you add the transfer portal, it gives players more option. Colorado at 4-6 is not bad for their first year, obviously. Now, I did say they were going to go 12-0, and then I did say they were going 9-3, and then I started to realize that, and I picked Arizona to beat Colorado just because Colorado was good offensively. They still can't run the ball. Shedeur is still carrying the team, but the defense needs a lot of more work than I thought it was. I know defense needs some work, but when they gave up those 90 points in 2 games between like USC and somebody else, they needed a lot of work. When they folded against the game against Stanford, they needed a hell of a lot of work. Like they needed work in all phases. And like we say, he needs new linemen, he needs a new defense. He just switched offensive coordinators 2 weeks ago. So what do you expect from him? He switched 2 offensive coordinators 2 weeks ago against UCLA. What do you expect him to do? Be perfect?
I didn't really get that move too much. The offense is clear. Like, obviously, the run game isn't going at the level they want it to go. But I don't think a coordinator is going to fix the talent issue and the size issue you have in the trenches. Like you can only game plan so well when your guys get beat every play, regardless of what you're running. So like I didn't think. And obviously, Shedeur is one of the best QBs in the country. So, like, if the offense was the issue, I feel like, they wouldn't be putting up 31 points a game, which is, polar opposite of last year. They were one of the lowest scoring teams in the country. So, again, back to my rant that, like, you can't consider this team anything but a success from last year. You have one of the best offenses or passing offenses, I should say, in the country. And an offensive coordinator change isn't going to help your running game when your O-line is just getting beat.
It's not really just a running game. I think part of it was they kept the defense out on the field too long, and the tempo was.
But that doesn't have anything to do.
I wouldn't say too fast. No, I wouldn't say it's too fast. The tempo is too fast, but it's just like the sequence of the play calling didn't make any fucking sense. I don't know this shit. I'm just saying that's part of it. I'm not saying that as an excuse. I'm not saying it as the correct answer. That's just my thought on it because, I mean, you don't just – what other reason do you make a change for? It has to be something that maybe Prime and Sean Lewis didn't probably agree on as far as the offense goes. But, I mean, they couldn't run the ball all year. But, I mean, they got Pat Shermer as the OC now, who's a former head coach. But, I mean, they're still scoring points, but there's other issues going on that we will probably never know about just because Prime's character is saying he's a good man. So like he's not gonna put it.
Yeah, he's not going to throw
his,
anyone under the
assistant
bus.
coaches though.
Yeah.
So that's just my thing. But they still can't run the ball. They scored 31 points against Arizona. I get it. They still have trouble running the ball. And Shador, he's still taking them unnecessary sacks. They still need new offensive linemen. That's just what it literally comes down to. I get it. The recruiting class will get better as the years go up. We'll see how they do in January if they go up to at least the top 40, 30, like after December, maybe. I mean, just because it's prime time. But I mean, they got a tough schedule. They play with Washington State next week, who's lost 6 straight games since starting off 4-0. And then, of course, Utah. Utah played a very close game with damn near Washington. So, I mean, we'll talk about that in the next episode, obviously. But go ahead.
No. I was going to agree with you. It's next week is their best chance of getting that 5th win, and keeping their bowl hopes alive if they could upset Utah. But I don't see that happening. That Utah defense. I mean, we'll get into it. But yeah, these next 2 weeks are, if they want to reach a bowl in year 1, it all comes down to this.
Oh, well, if that's not the case, then Virginia Tech will be bowl eligible for Colorado. Next episode of Lambo and Matt's World Sports is all the recaps of college football and the details of the Michigan suspension. I mean, they suspended Harbaugh without any damn details, and then we got some insight on that and strong thoughts about that. By the way, Alabama's winning. Ole Miss got spanked. Texas still sucks. I don't think they're back. I mean, TCU almost beat them. So we'll talk about that in the next 5 minutes in Lambo and Matt's World Sports. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Totem Pole Nation. If you need your merch, go to totempolenation.com. Y'all have a great night. Please take care of yourselves.